isn't theory. This is just facts. And it's the Padres. San Diego Padres are on pace to be the biggest bust of a team I think we've seen since maybe like that.
The Super Laker team with Karl Malone and Gary Payton.
No, that wasn't a bust because they made it to the finals. They just didn't win. Yeah. All right, they made it to the finals.
You did get me there.
Like I was gonna say, like maybe one of those like 05, 06 Yankee teams that were loaded but didn't do anything. Like they're on pace to be, I think, the biggest like team bust in baseball history. I can't think of a bigger team that was more stacked.
Last year was great. This year's gonna be better. I mean, God knows what I'm going to do this year.
And well, with that, aren't they like the highest payroll out there almost? The second highest? They're in the top. They're in the top three. They have to be.
I think
it's Dodgers, Mets, and Padres.
No. Dodgers are not in the top anymore. It is Mets, Yankees, Padres.
Yeah, see, they're in the top.
Like, and then I think Phillies are after.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you bring that up because the Mets doing horrible. The Yankees are clinging on for dear life for a wild card spot. The Padres are doing horrible, and the Phillies they're in wild card like.
They're the Phillies where they always are at this time of the year,
right? But they're in third place behind a Marlins team that spent no money, like they didn't do anything. And so
great GM there, great GM
Kim Ang, shout out to her, Dodger legend. But I just want to go through. The Padres are currently 37-45. They are 11 and a half games out of first place. To put it in comparison, I believe the Rockies are 33-51, and the Rockies are 16 and a half games back. So the Padres are closer to the Rockies than they are to first place, right? So they could potentially be in dead last by the All-Star break, right? And they were the talk of the town during the offseason. All the potential moves they were making, all the signings they were doing. There was, there were so many rumors. Oh, the Padres are making a big offer to Judge. Oh, the Padres are making a crazy offer to Trey Turner. Oh, the Padres have signed Xander Bogarts.
They're going to trade for Ohtani.
Right. All these things, right? They were just going crazy. And I know for a fact we came on this podcast once we started back up and we said, hey, don't believe in them. Don't believe in them because you got to do it. You got to show me that you can do it for a whole season. Right, last year was last year, and I'll give them credit for last year because they started off slow, but they were still always in it for the most part. And then they caught fire towards the end. And then, to be honest, I hope Padres fans will sympathize. And I'm not, as a Dodger fan, I'm not trying to hate on y'all because I still don't consider us a rivalry. I'll tell you this right now, but you guys had the perfect storm because you got crushed by us all season. So there's the underdog little brother story that's already brewing, right? You guys play the Mets in the first in the whole wild card series thing, and the Mets were, as you guys can see now, they're basically the same team. They're not very good.
With Profar still at first base, cleanup hitter is Josh Bell in his first career postseason game.
That one is laced deep to left field, and this one may get out of here. It does! Bell on a 3-1 pitch, his 18th of the year, and the Padres take Scherzer out and grab a 2.
Yeah.
Right, because you have Scherzer, who's a huge bust, and then you had DeGrom, who DeGrom was the only one that could have stopped them, and he pitched as well as he could, but he got beat. After that, it's a free fall. The only team that could have stopped them was the Dodgers. Right. And the Dodgers just happened to run into, they were hot, they were pissed off, and they ran into a team that was so energetic. And the Dodgers they were just sleepwalking through the first round and they got beat.
Hader to Freeman. He struck it out! For the first time in 24 years, the San Diego Padres are headed to the National League Championship Series.
Right, I can sit and say that we got beat. However, they played the Padres. The Phillies, who are another team that were red hot. And you saw what happened. The Phillies were a lesser team. They had lesser pitching. And they beat the Padres and ended up in the World Series, right?
He's one win, and in this case, one swing, perhaps, from the World Series. On the 7th pitch, Harper hits one in the air, left center field. Back it goes! Harper! The swing of his life! Bryce Harper has the Phillies on the verge of the World.
That was the perfect storm for them. This year now, like I've said before, as a Dodger fan, it's all fine and dandy when you come out of nowhere. But when now you're expected to do something, you got to show up.
Who do you think you'll face? We're already to the World Series, but who do you think you'll face in the World Series from the American League?
Who you guys want us to face?
Yankees?
It doesn't matter because we're still going to win it all.
And so far, they have not shown up at all. I just want to go through some stats right now where the Padres sit. Team batting average for the Padres is .233. That is a lineup that has Manny Machado, Nelson Cruz, Xander Bogarts, Matt Carpenter, Aaron Nola, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Juan Soto. 233 batting average. Besides Soto and Tatis Jr., as of right now, every player I just named is not doing anything. Not doing anything offensively. You can actually argue that they would be better off with some of these guys not even being on the team as of right now, right? But let's go a little deeper. Pitching staff-wise, they're actually pretty good. Blake Snell, who's notorious for never going deep into games, who's notorious for sometimes having control issues, has been their best pitcher this year. And of course, now you can attribute that to he is a free agent going into this offseason, so he could be pitching obviously for another big deal, but he's been really good. Michael Wacha, which was a very late signing for them, has been also very good. He's not as dominant as a Blake Snell when it comes to strikeouts and everything like that, but he does induce a lot of weak contact, and he's been very good for them. Joe Musgrove, he started off slow because he got hurt and he had some like weird injuries, but ever since he's come back, he's been pitching well. Those three should be enough to at least get you, above 500. But we go to some people. All right, let me say one person. And this deal was the deal that none of us understood why they did it. But the extension of Yu Darvish. The extension of Yu Darvish, which was that 6-year, $100-some-odd million deal. It didn't make any sense when they did it. It didn't make any sense. It won't make any sense 2 years from now. It won't make any sense 6 years from now. Yu Darvish is, on paper, their worst pitcher.
High fly ball, deep left. Going back now, Zokar on the track at the wall. See ya! Home run, Judge.
He has like a 5 ERA. He's been getting hammered all year. And you can almost say that this was expected because he's on the downtrend of especially for a starting pitcher, he's on the downtrend of his career right now, right? Last year he was great, but if you just looked at where he was going into his age 33 season, there was no reason to give him 6 years. Gave him 6 years, and that's looking horrible on paper. To the point where now the Padres are actually, and I don't know if they're going to do it, but I know that there are some discussions about them potentially selling at the deadline. With all that being said, you give me your thoughts on why the Padres have underperformed so horribly in 2023 so far.
Well, they don't have a real clubhouse veteran leader.
Right.
You have a bunch of, and not trying to be negative, but a bunch of egos.
Right.
And these egos all want to be the king of the castle. They want to be the top dog, but no one's performing like top dog. You don't have a clubhouse leader, someone who could like hold people accountable. Like who's the captain of the team? Who's going to go up and be like, yo, you're garbage right now. Like this is like, let me give you some pointers. You have coaches that do that. That's their job.
Right.
It hits different when it's your teammate come up to you. Like if you used to see back in the days when they would actually show a lot of the pictures, like in football huddles, you'd always have that one guy like, yelling at the one player, like, and that player's like, okay, yeah, let me get my shit together.
Right.
I see that with the Padres is if they start yelling, the other person's yelling back. So nothing's getting through. The communication's not there. And I feel like now with the Padres, it wasn't about baseball. With all these signings, it was like, let's see who can have the most money on this team. And I feel like right now it is kind of like in the scene of Major League, like before, like, oh, I'm just chilling, doing my stuff. I'm gonna hang out and talk and go out. Oh, we lose. Oh well.
Right.
Like they need a cutout of the owner in a bikini and start pulling the pieces down.
Hey, Peter Sadler, that'd be interesting. That's an interesting cutout. But yeah, I agree. And to be honest, again, this is something that was very predictable because the de facto leader, captain, you want to say, either by media standards or by just the players on that team, is Manny Machado.
And you see his track record.
And I like Manny Machado a lot because
He's a good player.
Yeah,
he's a good player, but as a leader,
I think he's a great player. I think he's a great player. Leadership, but I don't want to put it all on him.
Of course not.
Because these issues stem from, we said this back in 2020 when they extended Tatis Jr. Right? I think we both said it's too early.
Way too early. What was it like? I don't even think he was like a full year of service time yet.
It was one. It was one.
Okay,
barely.
Yeah,
barely one. And but we said, hey, this is too early, and we don't think this deal is gonna last for them. Like he's gonna be traded or something around this time, right? So then you have the steroid issue, and then I think you got to go back to last year because last year was very telling when he got popped for steroids and he was trying to come back from his injury. And Musgrove said what he said and kind of, called him out and everything like that. I think that was the domino effect because I think it's totally different if Machado does that. But the difference would have been Machado wouldn't have done it in the media. Machado would have talked to him like we've seen him do before. We've seen the video of Machado and Tatis arguing in the dugout. Right. And Machado trying to tell him, like, it doesn't matter. Like, we got to go play. Like we got to go win the game. It doesn't matter. And then Tatis flipping out. Right. I think when Musgrove did that, it started this weird domino effect of there is no leader. Because if there was a leader, someone would have told Musgrove, don't do that. Or if there is a de facto leader, like you said, Musgrove doesn't even have the authority to do that. He wouldn't even go out and make those comments.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like they rallied around like Tatis not being there. And then now he's back. And he's back now and he's being what he's supposed to be, which is one of your best players. But also there's still antics going on. We see him in the outfield when fans are chanting steroid things at him and all kind of heckles. Yeah, he's dancing, he's hyping it up and everything like that.
Making the catch, doing a dance, keeping warm.
We don't know the effect that has on the entire team. We don't, right? You look, even the deals they made, they were kind of puzzling because it was like, what's going on? What's really going on this team? Going out and pursuing Trey Turner when you have two shortstops is weird.
Yeah.
It's puzzling. Even though I get the idea of it. The idea of it is it's Trey Turner and he's an impact player. He can help us out. However, you still have Han-Song Kim. And you still have Tatis Jr. coming back.
Yeah.
There is no need for Trey Turner, essentially. Bogarts. There's really no need for Bogarts, essentially. Yeah. And Bogarts, again, his first year, but he hasn't been no part of the Boston Bogarts in San Diego, right? And then you just look at that and you're like, they have 10 more years of this, which leads me to believe I don't know how they can get out of it.
They put themselves in a pickle because with the contracts that they've given a lot of these players, they're not team friendly. So no one's going to want to trade for it unless the Padres are going to eat a shitload of the contracts.
Right. They're team friendly for the Padres
because Padres, yeah,
because of the years. But for anyone else, this is not team friendly.
No.
Like and that's where it's so crazy because they essentially have to just wait and they have to wait this out.